Hello, welcome to this workshop. So I'm Giuseppe Cantafio and I'm a member of the Decolonising group at University of Sunderland. And this was work that we've done with Professor Jeff, who actually today couldn't come because of graduations. And he's the head of the Decolonising group that we have at University of Sunderland. We have several campuses and more in detail, we work in London with Christopher, who actually is joining us today. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi everybody, my name is Chris Macallister. I'm one of the principal lecturers at University of Sunderland in London. It's a satellite campus, as Giuseppe has already mentioned, and I lead our academic development centre there. And we're going to sort of cut our cloth as best we can.
We're aiming for about 1:45. You can go 5 minutes over.
So we've got 25, 30 minutes or so. So these times are now approximate. We'll wing it and shape it as we go. So first of all, we've got workshop introductions and our aims, kind of where we are now. Then
we will do some groups and brainstorming. We'll try to divide in 2 groups, and we will have a collaborative, let's say, exercise, trying to answer to some of the questions that we have regarding decolonising the student experience.
Then we'll pause the group stage, come back together. We've got some additional slides and some additional research to present to you. Then back to a final group stage, and then we come back to
the network. But we can do this, of course, even during lunch, if there is any additional question. So, how did we start? What's the, let's say, the context? Why do we want to present this? I think our position is that we want to move from decolonising the syllabus towards decolonising the whole student experience. So, it sits well with the presentation of the colleague before from UOL that actually she was focusing on probably more decolonising the previous, and we go more on decolonising the student experience. So, no need to cite the references, but we want to actually present the framework that we want to work on today. We try to divide the institution under different, let's say, departments, faculties, or stages of the student experience. And the aim is to decolonize each of the stage of the student experience. So as we can see, decolonizing the syllabus is one of them, but we will try not to focus on that one for this presentation because enough has been said already, I would say. So we can see application and registration. So the first stage of a student when it comes to uni. Induction. How can we decolonize induction? Sometimes we don't think about this. We just think about decolonizing something else. Graduation. Is it about the speakers, about how it's organized? So timing. Think about all the organization of the graduation. Also, how do I decolonize the alumni experience? What's our approach with alumni? Also, marketing. This is quite a tricky area as well. External and community. How do we decolonize this area? But also as well, student services. How do we decolonize student services? Housing and accommodation. This is another important area. Students' union, library, and career. So, what we would like to do very briefly and very quickly is to ask you to divide yourself in 2 groups and to focus on only one of these aspects per group.
The second half of the room is one group, and this half of the room is the other group.
Thank you so much. Fabulous. I was going to deploy my English language roots teaching skills there, but you're better. Yay.
So you may choose the aspect that sits closer to you for as your formation or background as lectures, or you could actually choose one that is probably the farthest away from your formation in order to learn something new from your colleagues. Just we ask you to pick one, and then we'll discuss it later and compare and contrast the findings with the whole crowd, with the other colleagues.
Do you want us to write things down?
Yeah, if it's possible to jot down some bullet points or anything that could be presented in a few minutes.
And pens. Okay, what we've got now is our sort of short interlude. We were going to have longer sessions, but time is time. So, a bit more sort of input. Do you want to take us to our next slide?
Shall we present there, or we're going to show what we find out?
Shall we show what we've got?
Yes, so luckily we focused on something else that is not application and registration. What we focused on, alumni experience. Alumni have been actively involved to co-produce with students university decolonizing plan in the last few years, as we can see some references from the last year. Number of black practitioners cannot be changed overnight. However, recruitment process and support for students and alumni can be addressed as well. An alumni could be invited to contribute to create works and testimonies about their student or professional experience. And we brought here a couple of examples, one from the University of Brighton and one from the University of Sunderland, our own university. So what they're doing at Brighton, they're actually inviting alumni to write about their experience. This is an example of Ashna Mahtani, an alumni of the School of Education. She's asking, why is my curriculum white? And actually the university published this piece of article from an alumni. So really interesting work by University of Brighton. What we're doing at University of Sunderland, we are organizing a series of speeches and inviting BAME students to speak about their experience to our current students. So something can be done as well in terms of decolonizing the student experience. I don't know, any other idea or example that you can bring from your own institutions regarding alumni? And then we were thinking as well about the housing and accommodation. Jeff more precisely was focusing on housing and accommodation. And he found out that actually housing is a big problem. More than half of black students have been victim of some form of racism regarding accommodation. So we should actually also think about how to decolonize housing and accommodation. And also black students report an overall less positive experience in the accommodation as well. And there is also a reference from actually Unite Group, which is one of
some of your student accommodation here to walking the store. What's interesting for us in our Sunderland context is the main sort of Sunderland campus in Sunderland provides quite a lot of student accommodation, but of course with the growing numbers, especially international students, they can't accommodate everybody on campus accommodation, and there are all kinds of quite complicated issues developing about landlords being reluctant for a number of reasons, some to do with legislative changes going back several years, on renting to international students. For us in London, whether it's good or bad, we almost sort of, I think, sort of turn a blind eye to it. Essentially, for students to sort out their own accommodation to come and study in London. So a lot of people are studying with friends or relatives or finding accommodation elsewhere. But it's an issue, and perhaps we should, on self-reflection, we essentially don't engage with. We say accommodation in London is you need to sort out as a student. And finally, this is my sort of indulgent slide. Part of my background is in English language teaching, English for academic purposes, and something I encountered 20 years ago in critical English for academic purposes was I thought a really beautiful idea of moving from a needs analysis, which is a traditional thing, what does the student need, and then we teach them that, to a rights analysis. Now, and it's something I want to sort of put into the pot, and perhaps we can add it into our thinking from my world of English language teaching. So traditionally we had a needs analysis, which was really about what do students need to meet the expectations of their departments or their universities. To take a sort of Gramscian notion and others, it might have been called almost a subaltern approach. Student, what do you need to get here from what the university wants to you? The university's here, how do you get to meet that? Sarah Benesch, in her 2001 book, in Critical English for Academic Purposes, suggested moving much more towards, I've always tried to let it influence me, a rights analysis. What do students have a right to expect from their university experience? And I think she was quite influenced, I know I have been, about the fact that we're working with international students who are committing to such a huge journey often in another culture, another educational context. Bound with international students, as we all know, paying considerable amounts of fees. And so rather than university student come here, maybe we should be thinking in terms of, as a student, you've committed your time, money, emotion, well-being to us, what do you have a right to expect from us? And I think that takes us towards voice and co-creation, just looking at our time. So, what we'd like to do now is, for another sort of 5 minutes, do you want to sort of shape, structure what you've got, and then let's come back as a room and hear from both groups. So, 5 minutes at 43 past. Go, 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 we'll come back together.
Yeah, I think we heard a lot, and hopefully you enjoyed this networking, let's say, workshop, and hopefully we'll continue chatting and networking afterwards. Thank you so much. And yeah, these are our contacts.
Contact details.
Yeah.
As you can see, our attempt is sort of think wider than the curriculum. It's still at a relatively early stage, and we're looking to broaden who we collaborate with.